Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jack Farman. I am here with Christy Olson at Christy Reports on social media. Christy, I can't believe it. We are on a show together. I'm really excited about this. How are you?
Yay! I am so great, Jack. Thank you so much. Happy to be here tonight for my first time on one of the Wrestling Inc. weekly evening podcasts. And really cool to be sitting here with you. It's been a long time. We've done this once or twice before, I think maybe on some other kinds of shows, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I was going to say we both worked, for anyone who doesn't know or anyone who cares, we used to be a part of a different network a long time ago. And we did a few shows, but not that many. And I'm very eager and very excited to get to do this here with you. I got to say, I'm just going to put it out there. I always feel like I owe you a bit of thank you because you helped me kind of get going on that other network. And it's always been very appreciated. So like I said, I feel like this is very fun. I'm very excited to get to do this with you.
Well, I love to hear that, Jack. But the best thing that you can always do is just do great things. And you absolutely are doing that. You're achieving in every aspect of this pro wrestling world. So congratulations. High five.
Keep going. High five. I love it. This is going to be a very positive, fun show. Well, maybe it is. We'll see when we get to the show. But we will get started. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who is in the chat. By the way, we got Sergio and Joseph Boza and Alonzo Smith here. Night One, Jeffrey Sullivan, CC Funk One, all sorts of folks in there. Right now, Raj and Justin are out for today. They will be back, but for now, we get to chat. So if you want to get your comments read on the air, hit us with one of those super chats and we'll chat all about it. But in the meantime, Christy, you're known for news. I'm going to start talking with news, and we're going to start with something that a lot of people know us for, and that's for chatting about ratings to start things off with. We're going to start. Friday's taped AEW Rampage drew an average of 556,000 viewers on TNT, according to Showbuzz Daily. That's up almost 8% from last week's live show, and it got a .22 in the key demo. SmackDown, on the other hand, live Survivor Series go-home show did 2 million, just over 2 million viewers, and got a .52 in the demo. That's down about 7% from last week's show. Are you a big ratings person? Do you care? Do you follow the ratings?
I have a lot of fun, like everybody else does, checking them every week and really thinking about, does this mean anything? But of course, at the end of the day, this is actually a better measure than some of the other ones that we look at throughout the week, because this is really, Rampage and SmackDown, not necessarily going head to head, but they're competitive on the same night, So this is a great comparison to make. And it reminds us that AEW is still, working their way into casual fans' hearts, shall we say. But Rampage is doing great, and no surprises here, really.
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. I think it's a little surprising that SmackDown's down right before a Survivor Series, but I don't know about you, but I feel like sometimes these Friday shows are kind of like record and watch later a lot of times. And I think sometimes, I don't know how the ratings are calculated with recordings, but it does feel a little bit like when Survivor Series is just a day away. Sometimes it's easy to miss the one right before and just go right into the pay-per-view because they're going to recap it all anyways, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You're going to get that refresher anyway, and they can't change up things too much, the night before or 2 nights before. So it is a safe bet if you're ever going to miss one for that to be the one. But still a little dip, a little 8%. That's not anything to get too wound up about either.
Yeah, so I feel like this is why I don't really get into the ratings too much. I mean, if there's like a big deal, like if The Rock comes back, I'm curious what ratings are, if, something like that. But I feel like these kind of episodes, just kind of, it's about the same. I mean, I don't think it's a big enough difference one way or the other. That's not how you're supposed to do news, I guess. I'm supposed to act like this is the biggest deal of all time, but I don't know. Ratings just, Unless
but maybe that's the headline, is that things are kind of starting to even out, and all the other sports, all those unscripted sports that were messing things up for a few weeks of moving shows to different nights and all that, it sounds to me like that is pretty much over, and that is a great headline to me. That's breaking news. We don't have to deal with that anymore. Yes. We get our wrestling nights.
Fair enough. I do like that. Now, one thing that is pretty big breaking news, Kenny Omega has been stripped of the AAA World title due to numerous injuries, thus canceling his planned title defense on December 4th. Kenny Omega was the AAA Mega Champion for 765 days after he defeated Rey Fenix. It has to be a bummer to have a title reign that long end that way, especially like a week or two out from a defense. But injuries are part of the game. It happens. You gotta move on at this point. But do you think anything to take away from Kenny Omega taking some time off?
Yeah, well, I think the way that this is playing out shows us how unexpected this all was. He surpassed the record just like a month or so ago with this championship. So clearly, if they would have known that it was going to come to an end so shortly afterward, they probably wouldn't have chosen this time to let him surpass that record, right? So, things like this always come up. As per usual, Kenny geniusly continued to tell a story, set things up for his comeback. I'm sure everybody saw his little video online where he talked about this, and in true form, it kind of reminds us that he's going to come back and still be better than ever, and he can always speak even if he can't really get out there and get involved in the action. So not great news, of course, for him, but he'll be okay, as well this championship. And now we get a cool new a mystery contender to go up against. It's Vikingo.
Yeah, Vikingo. And he I like how you mentioned that because I agree too. I like that whenever wrestlers use something like this to just keep the story going, because now whenever Kenny's back, and he'll eventually be back, that'll be a video they can play in the replay packages that they can build up on. And now the match in the future will be bigger than it was before. And I think it's just a very professional and cool way to go about it. If you're, if it has to happen, and it does, just keep the story going a little bit.
Yeah, and put some other guys over in the process. Like, I'm invested now. I want to know who's going to be the next contender and who's going to take that championship, because that's probably the person who potentially could still have it when Kenny comes back. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm in. They're doing it right.
I am also in on this week's episode of Raw. But before we chat about it, I do again just want to say thank you to everyone who's in the chat. Thank you for all the comments. And also, while you're here, just click the like button, leave a comment, hit the subscribe, share it with a friend. Also, if you're on Apple, leave a 5-star review and leave a little comment in the review. That's always appreciated. I read all of them, even the mean ones, you jerks. But I like the nice ones. I read those as well. But share it, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now, I'm not going to ask you how you felt about the show in general. I'm going to go through it. We're just going to go step by step, and then you can tell me what you thought at the end. But I'm going to start. You get this little video package here, and it's Vince McMahon, and the egg is missing. And they want to figure out who took it, with the person who finds it getting a shot at Big E. I want to ask your opinion on this egg story. Of course, social media wasn't a big fan of it. Now, I have my thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.
So these are the kinds of important sponsorships, partnerships, mainstream media things that are going to keep WWE the #1 sports entertainment company probably forever. And I think the fact that Vince McMahon felt the need to get himself involved in this one shows you how valuable and important it was to WWE. They make a ton of money off these things, you guys, a ton. And still, we're working The Rock in there still, and it's a lot of names. I mean, I sat down for Raw night and I was like, I think Gal could show up. She could show up because of this whole thing that's going on. So I don't mind it, because I like when wrestling is in mainstream media. It makes me feel a little more important. So, it worked. And you know what? They didn't push it too hard. It all made sense. It set up some stuff for a guy who we wanted to see get an opportunity against Big E at that championship, right? In Austin Theory. So I'm cool with it. I feel like they probably tied it up with a bow now. The movie's out. It had got its big #1 weekend, and this is probably all over. But it was fun in the meantime.
I agree with you. Everyone always talks about what is wrestling going to do to reach a bigger audience. And then this is something they do, and everyone gets all frustrated because it's not what they expected. But this is what product placement is. This is what they're supposed to be doing. It's really no different than when someone wears a t-shirt with the name of the show they're on it, hoping people buy it. I get why it's a little silly, but it's product placement. And I love when they start the show with a storyline that we're going to see play out throughout the show. And that's what we got here. So I thought it was win-win. Again, I get it was a little silly, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, that's a good point. People complain a lot about Raw being 3 hours. This was something that went throughout and, kept us involved.
And in the chat, Donnie Cho says, what's the most epic fictional egg? The golden egg of Survivor Series, the Game of Thrones dragon eggs, Humpty Dumpty, or the gobbledygook egg? I'm going to let you take that one, Christy.
Oh, gobbledygook, such a classic. But you know what? I think Humpty Dumpty takes this one. He's got the song. We all know it. And I honestly haven't even seen Game of Thrones. I know that I'm like the only person in the whole world.
I haven't either yet.
So I'm going to give this one to Humpty Dumpty because we all know what happened to him and he could use a little pick-me-up.
I'm going to go with the golden egg from Survivor Series just because as a guy named Jack, I like to represent nursery rhymes with my name in them. And I don't like other nursery rhymes trying to take the Jack spotlight here. But a good question, Donnie. Thank you for that. And we also got Mike D in the chat saying Mike Bourne equals Doink the Clown 2022 Hall of Fame. Is Doink not in the Hall of Fame?
I want to say no. I think they want more movie crossover.
Yeah.
Between
So
and also Aaron, who thinks that if Justin or Raj were here, that they would hate this. Nope, you got the Raw squad tonight, guys.
Yes, the Raw for Raw squad. Well, we start off, and by the way, if you don't like praising Raw, it's only going to get worse for you because Matt Riddle
it was a good night.
Shows up with a goatee impersonating Randy Orton, and I don't know how he kept a straight face through this impression. He comes out with the facial hair, doing an impression throughout. I thought this was a really fun match. I thought this showed that Riddle is such a star, being able to do all this and put on a great match. It ends with everyone, with Randy Orton loving it, giving him the mustache back, doing the bro Derek himself. This was a fun way to get things going for the show.
Yes, I begrudgingly agree. I have to admit, every time these guys come out, I'm like, why? Why are they still doing this? Why is Randy still doing this? Why is this still a thing? And then I answer myself every time because it's still working. It's working very well. Like you said, it's funny. And I kind of even ask myself, why does Randy Orton want to be doing this? Why does he want to be a tag team champion when he's breaking the record for the most pay-per-view matches ever? Why does he want to tote this guy along with him? He's having fun, clearly, doing something different than he's really ever done before. And so that's why I could see this continuing to keep going. Because again, he was great. We don't need the super slapstick comedy either. This is writing a really, really good line. And I think there's even more that they could do with it.
I think sometimes people forget that you need to fill a whole show. You need to fill 3 hours, and you can't have everyone being world title contenders for 3 hours. You need to have the fun, silly stuff. And like I said, watching Matt Riddle when he's like, I'm already in your head. I hear voices in my head. I was like, how do you keep a straight face through this? Because he was so serious and it was so stupid, but it was so fun. I loved it. Great start to the show. We continue on. We get backstage. We see everyone is tearing apart the building looking for the egg. And then we get Becky Lynch in the ring. She cuts a promo. I know we're not supposed to like her, but I feel like you can hear the fans. They love her to death. And she says everyone wants something new. And that something new is Liv Morgan. And Liv Morgan is not going to live up to those expectations. Are you a fan of Becky Lynch and this ne'er-do-well personality she's had lately?
Of course, absolutely. I, like everyone else, am enthralled in anything that's so real. We know her history with Charlotte. We know they were friends. I've been there, seen them. It's like I'm so into that. I'm kind of a gossipy gal. You guys know me. I'm into it. So that got me in. But tonight, I think what Becky showed tonight was her power in making the fans do what they're supposed to do, what she says to do. She came out, they love her, big cheers. But as they started to understand, oh, she's going to crap on us a little bit tonight. She's messing with us a little bit. She's turning the tables. They went right to the booze at the right time. I mean, she just has us all right here in her hands. And I can't get enough of it, honestly.
I thought this was her best promo since coming back as a villain. And to your point, I like how she sort of teased being someone we could cheer for. Yes, we want something new. Yes, you took on Charlotte Flair, and then turned on us and slapped us all in the face. I thought that was exactly what you want from someone who we're supposed to hate. And I thought it was a really great. I just thought this was her best one, I think, so far of all her promos.
Yeah, and we know a great wrestling promo, always basics is put yourself over, make you sound the strongest, but also you're talking everybody else up too. And that's what Becky does a really great job of doing, making the whole, even though she's new to being back on Raw, making that whole Raw women's division look strong.
Yes. And speaking of strong, we have Bianca Belair in the ring after that, also cutting a promo, reminding us that she was the sole survivor at Survivor Series. She calls Doudrop a bit of a loser before Tamina shows up. And we have another great match, and Bianca's getting wins again, and Doudrop eventually comes out and flattens her afterwards, and the villains walk away arm in arm. So this had a few key points that I want to focus on. First off, I'm glad that Bianca Belair is getting wins again. I'm glad that she's reminded us she's getting wins again. I don't know where you sit on Bianca Belair. I feel like she's one of the best things going in wrestling. I don't know how you don't love her. She was on a very bad win-loss streak since SummerSlam, but she's back on a roll. I love Bianca Belair. Do you think she could be the next big star? Where are you at with her?
I know that she will be the next big star. I was there when she was really developing her character, doing her first NXT, singles matches at live shows and all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing that they've changed about her. Her look, her gear, her entrance, everything she does, from with the hair to what she does when she stands up on that apron, that's all her. And they have changed none of it since day one with her. And that just proves how well it works, how authentic it is to her. And when you're that authentic, she's not just going out there saying she's the strongest and the roughest and toughest and all that. She is physically the actual strongest. And when you're that authentic, it's going to work. It doesn't matter. Yes, she hasn't been booked the greatest lately. But she's shown that she survived that. Last night was great booking for her. Tonight was great booking for her. And I think she's somebody who won't get lost in the shuffle. She will not allow herself to be lost in the shuffle ever.
Yeah, and I will say, I'll admit it, and I've said it before, I'm biased for Bianca. I want her to win all the time. I know that you need to be smart about the way things play out, but I want her to win everything. I want her to win all the time. I don't care. But someone who, you talk about how Bianca has been Bianca through and through, and I think a lot of people love that, but someone who hasn't been herself through and through in this situation is Doudrop. She obviously changed. She was NXT UK. She was Piper Niven. Then she comes to the main roster, and she's Doudrop, totally different, and then has essentially changed as a Doudrop. But I feel like she is also, and not to risk just gushing over everything, I feel like she's crushing it right now. I think she's done the change from being a lovable character to a despisable character, and I can't believe that I am this amped to see these two go at it. I'm actually really surprised. I feel like this is one of my favorite women's wrestling storylines on the main roster right now.
Yeah, and it didn't even take much time, right? It wasn't like they spent the whole evening with Bianca talking about her, even having a match between the two of them. And also, let's not forget either that somebody thought Doudrop needed Eva Marie with her, at the beginning there, at least for a while. And I love Eva Marie, and I think either one of those women could stand on their own, of course. And Eva Marie is off doing big things now. But Doudrop is really showing us that she can just be Doudrop on her own, and this was just so quick. All of a sudden, it's set up. I'm in.
Are we getting a new little faction between her, Tamina, and Natalya, all skipping together arm in arm, or is that, you think that's just a one-time thing?
They looked good together. It made sense to me. They worked together. Again, they were part of the reason why it just all happened, why it made sense so quickly. And there was something about that. Like when they walked out together, I was like, oh, are they the new Mean Girls? Like, is that the new Team Bad?
Yes, I love it too because they all look like they could just, beat the brakes off people too. It's like they all look like they can, they got the look of a dominating force, if that makes sense. Like they look like they can mess up anyone on the roster. I like them all together. I don't know if it's a one-time thing, but I like the way that looked. I think that's really cool to see.
Well, yeah, we'll see where the storyline goes with the women's tag team championships, but maybe there's something there with, Dewdrop kind of pursuing, singles against Bianca, but all three of them coming out together and her supporting them in maybe a possible tag team championship.
Yeah. So we move on in the show and we get to Seth Rollins comes out, cuts a promo. I know we all want to talk about one part of this, but
we're getting there, everybody.
We're getting there. So Finn Balor comes out and
he's on SmackDown. That's right.
So Seth Rollins, by the way, reminds us he's also a Soul Survivor. Seth Rollins, before we get to again the part that we all want to talk about, I want to ask you about Finn Balor. Finn Balor has had a bit of a fall from grace over the past few weeks, ever since King of the Ring. Also on a bit of a skid here, and today just kind of got jumped by Seth Rollins and beaten down. Match didn't even happen, but Seth beat the tar out of Finn Balor here. What's going on with the Prince?
That's a really good question. And it is something that I have been kind of looking at and wondering for a while, ever since he went down to NXT. And what I keep getting at is that he just doesn't care, real guy off camera. He's not caring that much about glory or attention, or, he's not concerned about whether he is in position to be chasing a championship or anything like that. I think his concern is telling great stories and being utilized in the way that they need him. He's proven himself over and over. And, I just wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of just chilling. Like he's just good. Isn't that what you get from him? There's no desperation there either. It's not like he's mad that he's in any position he's in. I just don't pick up on that from him. Right. So I think maybe he's just cool.
Yeah, maybe. Because I agree. You don't see him on social media tweeting things and, passive aggressive things or whatnot. He's a rock star. So again, I like everyone, but I always feel like he said, he's one of those guys that I always say, if you can rock a leather jacket in underwear tights and still look like a rock star, you've got it somehow, buddy. I don't know, make something work with the guy, but
he's had those ups and downs, and I think he knows just as well as anybody else that his time will come again. It'll come back around, and he's probably enjoying being used to when his time was when they were on the road for 300 days a year. He's probably cool with like hanging out for a little bit.
Fair enough. And Donnie Cho in the chat says, do you guys foresee Dewdrop being positioned as the next Nia Jax? Not to sound cliche, I kind of feel like she's going to be the first Dewdrop, but how do you feel about her sort of filling the role? I'm guessing what Donnie means by that is sort of the bruiser of the women's division.
Right. Well, Jack, I'm glad to hear you say that because I had a male companion in the room tonight, my hubby, while we were watching, and he had that comparison as well. He was like, oh, is she the new Nia? And I think it's very easy for someone, again, a casual fan, maybe someone who doesn't drop in every week and hasn't seen the progression of Dewdrop, to think that. But, if we're just talking size, I think there's a lot more to it than that. I think there's a lot more to Nia not being there anymore to that. And there's a lot more to Dewdrop being there in the way that she can prove herself and just that, oh, well, we've got another Nia on our hands here.
Well,
you're right. She's going to be the first Dewdrop.
The first Dewdrop. Well, let's get to what everyone wants to talk about this. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, if you're ready, this is we're going to talk about it. More egg searching. No, I'm joking. We have Seth Rollins going to the back and some dork jumps the guardrail and attacks Seth Rollins. Christy, why do people think that they can attack a super athlete?
Why right? Is that always our first question? What is your motivation here? And usually I think that people are just trying to get attention. This guy seemed to have some really seriously bad motives here. He seemed like he was really trying to hurt Seth. And my second question is always, how does this happen? how does it get to that point where somebody is over a guardrail and all this? I know how much security there is there, event security plus WWE guys and all that. It's shocking to me that when this does happen. And again, it seemed like this guy had some really nefarious motives here.
Yeah, he seemed heated. It didn't seem like a I just want to get on TV and be silly person. He had it out for Seth Rollins for some reason. Which, hey, maybe that means Seth Rollins is doing his job because he's getting people all worked up.
That's true. That's true. Obviously not the way they want it to culminate. I was surprised by how much of it we saw too. They are such an on it live production. And I think maybe somebody was like, oh, okay. Oh yeah. Let's let them see this for a second. And of course, if you search on Twitter, you can find lots of videos of what was really going down. My biggest indicator that it wasn't supposed to be, that's always your thought too, right? Is like, is this supposed to happen? Was when Eddie, the referee, got all entangled too.
Right.
If it was supposed to happen, he would back off. And I was like, oh, Eddie's getting into it. This must be something crazy.
Yeah, if that was a wrestler supposed to be doing that, the refs don't get nearly that involved. They just kind of tap him on the back and like, come on, stop it, buddy. But this one he was like really trying to stop something. So just don't jump the guardrail, folks. It's not going to end well. And even I always say, like, Seth Rollins, like I said, like a super athlete. He's gonna beat you up even if no one steps in. Come on. Like, I know we all like to.
And you're giving him license to do so. Like, I've heard plenty of wrestlers say, like, bro, I'm ready for a fan to come in because they're attacking you. You're defending yourself then, and you have the opportunity to show them why it is not a good idea to do that.
Yes, and I will say, anyone who's ever stood next to a pro wrestler in real life, just know they are way bigger and way stronger than you think they are, even on TV. Even the ones that we all call small are way bigger and way stronger than you think they are.
Absolutely. And they got all that backup.
Yes. So in the backstage, there's more egg searching, and Sami Zayn is talking to Vince McMahon. And he says he may know who has the egg, which gets us all wondering who may have it. And we see Kevin Owens looking for the egg. And when Kevin Owens was looking for the egg, this is where it struck me. Now, again, I think this is a fine storyline. I get it. I get why it's here. But this egg is supposedly worth $100 million. And he expects people to turn it in for a shot at the world title. I'm going to eBay that thing. Like $100 million. I mean, even if I only got 10% of the value, I'm set for life. Why would I turn that in?
No, Jack, this just tells you how hardcore the WWE superstars are and how important and valuable those championships are. I mean, this makes the belt look important, and I'm always here for that because I don't do a great job of that all the time. So I see what you're saying, but I think if we were pro wrestlers, we would understand.
Right. Okay. Yeah. If the value, by the way, if the belt was worth $100 million, I'd probably pawn that too. I will sell out for anything.
Showing yourself. And then you start your own promotion, make yourself the champion again. I mean, you can do a lot with $100 million.
Yeah, with $100 million, you could do a lot. You could buy a lot of belts from people. I mean, the $1 Million Man was doing it with just the million. Imagine $100 million.
Good point.
So Street Profits come out and they have a match with AJ Styles and Omos. And this is, I thought the show was great for a long time. I got to admit, this one kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I love the teams. I love the matchup. By the way, shame on the person with the Montez Ford is doo-doo sign. It made me laugh, but shame on you. But what I didn't like is that the Street Profits are supposed to be good guys. We're supposed to like them. They're supposed to be people who fight and stand up for themselves, but they intentionally brought a fire extinguisher to intentionally get DQ'd from a match. That to me, I like the matchup. I like the people, but that didn't sit well with me. How did you feel about the Street Profits versus AJ and Omos?
Well, it was confusing. I didn't know what to think. I thought that maybe I had missed something along the way with his duffel bag, or, that I had missed something. And I don't like that feeling. So they didn't do a good job of setting it up in the first place. It does seem very anti-Street Profits. And if this was some kind of heel turn, again, I think the Street Profits could come up with something much better than that. Got to know where this goes, but especially after Omos had such a big night too. on Sunday, and confused. I'm like, I don't get it, Jack. I don't get it.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like they were defending the titles and like getting DQ didn't matter to them. If I don't understand why they even came out for the match if they were intentionally. Because if they brought the fire extinguisher out, they would have had to have known they were going to use it and get it DQ'd. So I don't know. That to me was the logic gap for me, that I couldn't piece that together. Everyone says I love everything, but I do every now and again have these moments where I say, I don't know about that one. Again, I want to see him have another match, but maybe this is just to lead to like a like no DQ match of some kind, or maybe a fire extinguisher on a pole match or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? And I bet that the Street Profits will figure out a way to make this make sense to us, either on social media or, whatever happens next in this. They have to know that maybe it didn't go off great, and I think they can fix it.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We're gonna let them. We're gonna let it play out, but we're gonna move on to Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley backstage. They say they're not scared of Nikki ASH and that Rhea Ripley is carrying the load, and kind of turns out that they were right, because during the match, it was Nikki ASH that gets pinned, and Zelina and Carmella are the new women's champions. My question to you right off the bat, Christy, has Zelina ever not been the best dressed person in the room?
Yeah, when I was there. No, best dressed, best figure, best attitude. I mean, just all around. Best. Yeah. Answer, no.
Yes.
Even standing next to Carmella, the most beautiful woman in all of WWE. I mean, that's giving you a run for your money, for your former Money in the Bank, Carmella.
Yes, and so this match, it was interesting. I feel like Nikki or Zelina and Carmella have felt like they were going to be the next women's tag team champions. Nikki and Rhea, I like them both, but it felt like they kind of got lost in the shuffle for a while there. I'm hoping this gives them a chance to sort of reignite something, whether it be going back into singles or as a tag team or against each other or something. It felt like somewhere along the line they got lost a little bit. So hopefully this is good. But also, I think it's cool Zelina won the titles in her hometown. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, well, that is awesome. And to go back to your point, I mean, with the titles have sort of felt like, since they created these women's tag team titles, like we're throwing single stars together for a while to do this thing, right? And Rhea and Nikki ASH, of course, can both be, dare I say it, stronger without each other. They just don't need each other, and they don't make enough sense as a tag team, where that needs to be something where we get really invested in. Whereas Zelina and Carmella, that feels like something that could work for a while, that has a lot of story potential. I think, I think this is good for Rhea and Nikki, very, very good, and also very, very good for Carmella and Zelina.
Yeah, to your point, I hope that Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley don't just break up the team. I hope they stay together, and I hope that also the Dewdrop Squad keeps together as a tag team, because right now it feels like that division, they have so many talented women on the roster, but they just don't have women tag teams for some reason. And it seems like they always have one as the champion and then one that gets put together to challenge. And then as soon as that matchup's done, one of those two teams breaks up and they move on, and you never see those tag teams again. And so I'm hoping, because they definitely have the talent for a women's tag team division, I'm just hoping they find a way to make it work and get enough of them going. And, so it's not just one team versus one team at all times.
No, and maybe this is the first area where we're really seeing the releases have an effect with this, women's tag team championship. We lost Peyton and Billy. We've lost Tegan Knox now. Her and Dakota Kai that was always going to be the thing with the two of them from way back in the day. And maybe this is the first place where we'll kind of really see that they've gone to two bare of bones.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it does seem like a lot of the people that have been released would have been great in this division and would have had an opportunity to stand out and do some big things there. So yeah, it's at some point it's going to make a difference on these rosters. At some point it's going to the rubber's going to meet the road and it's going to be difficult, but
right. And look, meanwhile, Cassie and Jess are the brand new champions over at Impact. So, it's worked out okay for them.
Yeah, we should say it's been great too for a lot of the people who have been able to go off and find other opportunities in places as well. So that's good
yeah,
for us.
Becky mentioned, I know we're not there yet, but Becky mentioned Liv's friends who aren't there anymore also doing fine.
Yes. And Mick Mac sent through a super chat. Thank you so much. Doesn't look like a message came through. So Mick Mac, if you have a comment, go ahead and you can just type it in and we'll read it out for you.
Mick's always got good stuff. He must have just slipped on the enter.
That's why you say that. Christy is the best. You like the people that say nice things about you. To be fair, I did just say I would sell out for anything. So who am I to judge?
True.
So backstage, Sonya Deville says they found the culprit who stole the egg, and it's Austin Theory. He said he just wanted a selfie, much to Sami Zayn's chagrin. Theory gets the title shot. We kind of touched on a little bit. Was this the right call? Now, obviously, I think we all want it to be a big surprise like The Rock or Brock Lesnar. But when you look at who's actually on the roster and who a realistic pick is, were you happy with Austin Theory as the guy to come up in this spot?
Yes, this was a huge opportunity, and it should go to someone who could use a huge opportunity, not a Brock Lesnar or The Rock, who was never coming anyway. This worked out really well. I loved the added thing that he would become the youngest ever, should he have won tonight. I love that. It just adds more to the story, gives you a reason to kind of cheer for him when it's a quick thing like that. So yes, I like this. Also, it made sense to me. Everybody's been critical of this Golden Egg storyline now, but it made sense to me that he would take it to get a selfie, get in trouble. Oh no, so I just went to the hotel. Like, who can't relate to that? You're like, oh crap, I'm in trouble, I'm out of here. Of course, That's what Austin Theory is going to do. And of course, Vince McMahon is going to understand that. See this guy is like having some cojones and give him an opportunity over Sami Zayn. Like, it all made sense at the end of the day. And that's the most that, we can hope for in a relational story like this.
I will say too, it actually made sense that he would get the title shot here, because a few weeks ago he was trying to get a selfie with Big E. So it's not like these two haven't crossed paths. And also up until tonight, and we'll get into the match in a little bit, but Austin Theory's been undefeated on Raw, and he's beaten some pretty big names. Right. I think Austin Theory is the next big thing. I think he's going to be a massive star. And I think they feel that way too. That's why they're giving him a shot. But
clearly, yeah.
Someone who got a big shot today too, Cedric Alexander got a shot at the 24/7 title against Reggie. Quick match. Cedric looks strong, got a big win. And then Dana Brooke, she takes it right from him. She is the new 24/7 champion, says she likes being a champion 24/7. Kind of cool she got the win. I think the big question here is this a new era for the 24/7 title, Christy?
Yes, because they're back to shocking us again and surprising us, right? This one finally came out of nowhere again. It was sometimes this is something we've gone through progressions with, and it's felt a little too hijinksy at points. This made sense. I love that it started off with making this championship important again. Yes, the 24/7 title is worth an actual match in the ring. That was a great thing that Reggie did for the title, and he was all over last night touting that and talking about how important that was. So I was really shocked that he wasn't going to, win and get another opportunity to really build it up as this championship that was going to be defended in the ring now. So it all worked really well. Dana, so unexpected, and just love to see anytime she gets an opportunity. I got to be honest, every time I hear there are releases, I'm nervous for her. And then she gets something like this, and we are reminded why they see value in her. Who else could have they pulled for that tonight? And she executed it so well. Everybody loves to root for her. And just congratulations. I think that she will hold on to this for a little while.
She does have a really strong fan following. There's people who are like ride or die for her. And I think it's great that she's getting this opportunity. And I think the 24/7 title in the women's division could be great because, as we said before, there is so much talent in that division, but sometimes it feels like that division gets relegated to, like I said before, just champion and challenger, and that's kind of all you get. I think that's one of the reasons I like Bianca versus Doudrop. It has nothing to do with the title, but it's a rivalry, so it's cool to see. But this could be another opportunity for some of the women who need time on TV, but maybe aren't at the world, the world title level, or maybe they're not in a tag team. Now they can be a part of this. And anytime you give people a chance to be on TV, I like it. It's good for them.
Yeah, or a way for us to get to know some of the newer talent, maybe she and Aaliyah. This would be a good, championship for Aaliyah to go after now that she's on the main roster. Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of potential here with the women, and they haven't had that opportunity yet. I know Carmella's had it a couple times and all that, but really for it to go around the women's division a little bit is cool.
Yeah, so I think hopefully it is a new era. Hopefully it doesn't just like go back to Reggie tomorrow. Sometimes they do that. They'll tease that something new is coming, and then it goes right back to where it was. But hopefully it is some new stuff, and hopefully it gives Dana Brooke a chance to show out and really prove herself again. I should say she's done a lot of stuff. I don't want to act like she hasn't done anything.
Don't Corey Graves her.
Yeah, I know. It's like maybe now she can finally prove herself. She's been doing this for a little bit, man. I'll give her a little bit of credit. So we get we get a handicap match at this point. Rhea and Dominik team up against Lashley. And MVP says that Rhea is an icon in wrestling, but a bad father. I'll be honest, I kind of agree with him. Dominik finds himself getting beat up by Brock Lesnar, by Lashley. I mean, he gets thrown to the wolves quite a bit. Something that I noticed here is the commentators, as I'm sure they're supposed to do, kept acting like Rhea and Dominik were the underdogs, but they were the one with the 2-on-1 advantage. Lashley looks unstoppable here. I think Rey Mysterio, even in a loss, is always going to look great. How did you like the 2-on-1? Where do you think Lashley's going? Break this one down for us.
Well, again, it was something different. It even had me thinking about, the rules of a handicap match and all that kind of stuff. And as, Dominik and Rhea are tagging in and out, it was different. It broke up the evening. You know what I mean? It was something different. And again, they've worked so much towards this. There's been so much to this coming that this was kind of the next logical step for them. This whole rivalry, this feud is starting to feel like, what else can they do? And yet again, kind of like Randy and the RK Bros, it still works. There still seems to be some gas in this. Look at it. They've got you agreeing, that Rey is a terrible father. And we're invested in this. We really are. The family aspect of that. Tonight, even over the commentary, when they say like first ever, father-son duo to hold titles, it's like that gives you chills a little bit. They are really unique. And it's something that can continue to work for a really long time.
I mean, Dominik was in a situation where a guy was trying to take his eyeball out about a year ago. I mean, it's like,
true.
Maybe true. Rey should protect him a little bit. But yeah, it's again, I think that Lashley had such a good year this past year. It's great to see. I was really worried that he was going to, once he lost the title, they were going to kind of shuffle him to the back of the deck again. So it's really great to see that they're still treating him as this unstoppable force, because I'm a big Bobby Lashley fan. And I mean, obviously I'm a Rey fan, but like I said, Rey can he could lose for the next 3 years and he'll still be a legend and still matter.
Right. And we have to remember too, with guys like Brock Lesnar not around right now, and Braun Strowman gone for good, your Bray Wyatt's gone for good, your big guys, it's very important that we keep Bobby Lashley looking strong, because he is that superhuman looking guy who has that reputation of kicking everybody's ass every time,
Yes.
So I think it's important that they keep him up there as long as Brock isn't around.
Yes. And so, I love to see what happens with him next, because that world title seems looking a little bit crowded at this point. But McMahon says, well, what do you call a can opener that doesn't work? A can't opener.
Classic McMahon comedy. Love it.
McMahon. I don't know. I don't know. So we got Big E talking about his upcoming match later in the night, and I like that he sort of builds up Austin Theory. I also love that he's wearing a Seinfeld outfit, like his gear is Seinfeld related. He's like pretty, or what he said, like pretty good. He kind of mimicked.
Okay. Thank you, Jack. I was wondering what the hell that all was. I don't watch Seinfeld. I didn't get it. Now I understand. Thank you. Clearly somebody appreciated it. I'm sure our folks in the chat got it too. Now I know.
There's like 3 people that get it in the world, but hey, it was fun. I liked it. But Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, they have a stare down. They have a face-to-face promo, and Liv walks away after punching the man in the face. Do you believe Liv Morgan is going to win the title?
No, but I want you to rephrase that question, Jack. I want you to ask me if I think anyone could take the title from Becky Lynch. And that answer is no. Do I think that Liv can run a freaking awesome program with Becky and make us think that she could win? And have everybody on her side, even against Becky, even knowing that she likely won't win? Yes, absolutely. 100%. It's still going to be a great story. I still want to see it. I wanted to see Liv punch her in the face tonight. And many more times.
Becky Lynch hasn't lost. I think she said it in her promo day. It was almost like 3 years or something. Like, she hasn't lost in a long time. Liv Morgan, though, it probably, when you look at the ratio of losses to how many fans love her, might have one of the biggest ratios of, even though she always loses, no offense, Liv, but she loses a lot. But people I talk about Dana Brooke, people will go hard for Liv Morgan. They love Liv Morgan. She has a support group that is insane. So I think people are going to be invested in that match one way or the other. My question, just to piggyback on that, because you said if anyone on the roster could beat her now, who will beat her? If you just project, just for funsies, just to guess, who do you think it's going to be?
That's what I keep thinking about. Who could it be? I mean, I think it's, first of all, it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long, long time. And I think what makes the most sense after how Becky got the championship in the first place, even though it was the other one, is for it to be Bianca.
Interesting. I wonder, maybe Bianca wins the Rumble, then goes to Mania and wins it there.
Yeah, maybe. Yes. See, I like that. It would require a lot of, things to switch around and switch up and happen. How far are we to Mania now? Let's see. Yeah, that story would have to really be shaping up. Maybe next Mania.
Yeah.
Because I don't think fans are going to forget about that. What happened with Becky and Bianca, how Bianca lost her championship. We're not going to forget about that. Like, it won't matter how long it is till that gets revisited. I think that's the program where we will believe that maybe Becky can lose, and maybe she will.
Well, like I said, I am a big Bianca fan, so I haven't forgotten what happened at SummerSlam, Becky, and I'm waiting for revenge from Bianca. Damian Priest comes out, and he does his open challenge. Apollo Crews comes out, and it says he's not going to accept. And then Sami Zayn accepts. And Priest beats him. This was another thing I wasn't really... I was kind of confused about. Because last night at Survivor Series, Damian Priest seemed like a jerk. But today he was everyone's friend. I don't know why Apollo Crews came out if he wasn't accepting the challenge. So Sami Zayn, I don't know. This was a kind of I felt like a lot of stuff happened here that doesn't really seem to have mattered a whole lot. But I like
right, and then on top of that sidebar, the cheesy accent, which just seems tone deaf at this point, especially when other people are doing it too. It's too much. You're right. This whole thing was too much.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I love everyone involved, but it just, it felt what. I guess Apollo Crews, it's good that he's on TV because he hasn't really been on TV, I don't think, since he came to Raw. So it's good he's out there. But I want to ask you about Damian Priest. Do you like Damian Priest more now or before he had this sort of getting angry, snapping on people thing? When he's the Archer of Infinity, back when he was with Bad Bunny, or now this version?
I like the old version of him, but I also think he can make this new, more aggressive thing work. I think it might just take a little more time. Like, we have to be convinced of it, and that's okay. After the story that he told with Bad Bunny and being the hero and all that stuff, he can do it. He's still got an insane crowd reaction. I was paying a lot of attention to that tonight. I'll admit that sometimes I fast forward through entrances, but since this was so important to break down every aspect tonight, I really paid attention to that. And he is just as over as anybody, so whatever he's doing, I think it's still working. And he feels like kind of a blank slate now, right? We're saying, we feel like we see this kind of a new attitude from him, but also it could go in any direction. I think maybe he's just kind of waiting to get the next assignment and he'll understand the assignment and then he'll be off rolling again.
Yeah, I think this version of him I think it's easier for people who don't watch regularly to get him now. Like if this is the first time watching the show, I think you get him a little quicker than you would have before. I think before it was kind of like, he's a rock star, he's cool, but like, what does that actually mean? Like, how do you explain it to people? I think now he comes out and you watch one match, like, okay, I get it. He snaps, he gets angry, and then he beats people up, whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely looks the part for beating people up. So if that's where he's going with his character, I'm buying it. It's believable.
And Sami Zayn, to his credit, always fun to watch him get beat up. Again, I don't really know what Apollo Crews did out there. Hopefully, I'm sure they'll start something with him and Damian Priest next week, but it just seemed kind of random to have him show up.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly wanted us to remember he's there. Hey, he's back, put him back in our minds. And yeah, maybe next week it will be his big chance.
So we get to, speaking of big chances, Austin Theory gets his big chance. He gets a world title shot against Big E. Of course, there's all sorts of shenanigans and things breaking down at ringside while it happens. But I thought, I guess just going person by person, again, Austin Theory looked incredible in the match tonight. I think he looked like he belonged there. He was able to lift Big E, which is saying something.
Impressive.
And of course, on the outside, I think Seth Rollins clearly is entertaining. The fans were humming his entrance song the whole time. Did you notice that Seth Rollins looked both ways before he came out? Like he was looking for someone to come get him from the crowd.
I didn't catch that. Is he going to be paranoid now? Poor guy.
Well, he kind of played it. He did this like, okay. I don't know if he did it on purpose. I don't know if it was a bit or what, but it definitely, it seemed like it was a little like poke at what happened earlier. But KO, I'm loving this kind of unpredictable KO along with unpredictable Seth Rollins. And I think Big E is entertaining. I like where this world title situation is. I'm predicting, and I'm sure a lot of people are, a 3-way match. How do you feel about what do you think about the world title scene and like kind of the main event picture on Raw as it stands right now?
At first glance, it sort of feels like the same old big picture guys, top title guys doing the same stuff that they've been doing for years. But then they go out and do it. And again, am I like overly cynical or something? And then it works. And again, they kind of got me tonight. And with Seth being on commentary, there were creative ways to get everybody involved, make everything make sense, have everybody be a little heated. I like this because we're not just narrowed down to 2 competitors now. There's some mystery here, and it feels like something that can play out over many weeks. We just got done talking about the women's title. It's like, who could ever beat Becky? We don't know. Well, with this championship and Big E, it's like, we love you, Big E, and we hope you hold the title for a long time. But man, they are coming for you, and you have some formidable opponents here, and they're clearly going to entertain us in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think it's so smart too, because right now you're getting so many people, I always say, like rubbing shoulders with Big E, and so the more they're rubbing shoulders with him, the more it feels like they could be contenders for the title. And when they get the shot, it doesn't feel random. I always think that's one of the big things that they do with Roman Reigns so well is they have people sort of in his peripheral for a while. And then when they get the shot, it doesn't feel random. Like, why is this guy getting a shot? Or it doesn't feel like the same person over and over. And right now, Big E could have the 3-way match. You could then have one-on-ones with both those guys. You could have another longer-term thing with Austin Theory. There's also Lashley on the horizon, I'm sure, wanting a rematch. And there's just a lot of stuff they could do with it. And I think that in the past, Raw's fell into the position of you just have Drew McIntyre. No offense to Drew McIntyre, but like it's just like Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton 100 times in a row.
Right.
Where now you can have a lot of stuff. And I think Big E is one of those guys that makes it interesting no matter who he faces. So I like the way the show ended. I thought it was a fun show.
And this was kind of the freshening up that we needed, right? That's the whole point of the draft and mixing up the superstars and all of that. It really is working here with the men's Raw division.
So we've gotten through everything. We've chatted through it all. We got through 3 hours of Raw pretty quickly. I want to ask you, scale of 1 to 10, what do you rank this one? Was this a good one? Was this a bad one? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Ooh, you know what? I really liked this show. And I have to be honest that I gone through different phases where I don't pop into Raw and SmackDown every week. But it's been hot lately. And this one made me, I always think the biggest test is, do I want to tune in next week? Am I looking forward to that? Am I making sure Monday night at 5 p.m. that I'm sitting down to watch Raw? Yes, absolutely. After what I saw tonight. So yeah, man, I'm going to give it like a 8.5 for Vince, several appearances from Vince, a pop culture tie-in. They're finding these creative ways to keep talking about The Rock, even though he's never going to show. I mean,
He's not.
This was good. It was good creative. It was good booking. The superstars knock every freaking ball that is pitched at them out of the park. Yeah, this was a good one. And I like that. I like to be positive. I don't want to crap on, everything that's going on.
I'm so glad you said 8.5. I was going to say 8. Honestly, and a lot of people may say 8's pretty high, but I would say, I think this was better than 80% of Raws.
Yes.
If I was to put all 100 Raws together, I bet this was better than 80 of them. So I think an 8's fair. I think an 8's good. I think a lot of people, they get too hung up on the number, but eight I think is a good number. I think it's fair because you're right. Vince was there, and I feel like that bumps it up at least 3 points on its own. Just a Vince McMahon sighting.
Yes.
So that does it for us. I thought this was a good Raw. We all loved it. Let us know in the chat what you think. If you thought it was a good show. I also want to give just since the boss isn't here, I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of fellas I saw at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They come and got a picture with me. They listen to the show every week. So shout out to you guys. But before we go, Christy,
are you going to say their names? Did you forget their names already, Jack?
I didn't get their names. I feel terrible. Mick says,
well, now they can tag you.
I gave a Raw 7.639 out of 10. That's the correct answer, by the way, McMac. That's the exact number. But
so precise.
But Christy, where can the world find you online and all that other good stuff?
Oh, well, this has been such fun, Jack, and I hope I can join you again soon. They can always hit me up at Christy Reports. You guys, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and I don't usually have 4 eyes. I usually only have 2. They're getting lasered tomorrow, so I'm not allowed to wear my contacts. So hopefully I will never have to wear these glasses ever again in my life. So don't get confused when you see me glassesless in my other places. But yeah, I would love it if you guys reach out to me. Let me know what you thought of tonight's Raw. And we got Thanksgiving coming up. I hope that everybody is feeling joy and love in their hearts and that everybody has a great week.
Yeah, that I would love to have you back. And by the way, I had my eyes laserly corrected about 3 years ago, and I wish I did it sooner. I am so I rave about it. I'm like I'm such a fit because I hated glasses, I hated contacts. So very cool. Best of luck with everything. I'm sure it'll be fine for me. They just gave me this. I was like asleep. They gave me this thing. I was asleep for like 24 hours, and then everything was fine after that. So it's
perfect. My husband will be very happy to hear that.
Yeah, it was literally like, here, take this. I was like, I was asleep for 24 hours. And I didn't know what happened after that. So very cool. I want everyone who's, again, leave us a 5-star review, comment, share, subscribe. Leave some comments. Let us know if you like the Jack Farmer, Christy Olson tag team this week. All the Raw haters probably did not like our show, but it's okay. Yeah, but
or we convinced them.
Yeah, go back and rewatch the 3 hours now with this different viewpoint and let us know. No, but make sure to tune in tomorrow for the Wrestling Inc. NXT after show, Wednesday for the AEW Dynamite after show, Friday for the doubleheader of SmackDown and Rampage after show, and of course, make sure to stay tuned into Wrestling Inc. all week long for all the latest news and information. My name's Jack Farmer. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. She's Christy Olson. You can find her at Christy Reports. That does it for us. We'll see you guys next week. Oh, and Mick Mac real quick says, we need more shows. Great chemistry.
On it.
On it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.